Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am the Healthy Human, also known as Amia, and today's video is a very personal one. Basically kind of like an update of what's been happening, as some things have come up for me in the past few months. Basically, as the title of the video says, I am a nutritionist, I am a wellness coach, and my binge eating kind of came back a little bit recently, which is quite scary. So my history is that I had binge eating in high school and a few years after high school due to a lot of very disordered eating, a lot of long-term dieting. I do have a video on my page about sort of my journey. The last 2 years especially, I've come so far in my relationship with food and my body and my expectations of myself. So I've come quite far and I haven't binged that whole time. Definitely overeaten, but even when I do overeat, I forgive myself and it's not just like a big thing as it was. I move on and that's that. So that's a very, very brief history. So the past 2 years have been good. These past few months, end of last year actually, maybe like August, October, I got myself a coach finally, which I was super psyched about. We went into a dieting period first, weight training. I was feeling really great. And then I had a little bit of a break over Christmas and then went on a holiday in January. Oh, you can see a little puppy. Went on a holiday in January to Queensland, so another little break, and then came back to be in a deficit again, as I was planning to do a photo shoot end of May, which I was super nervous about but also super excited. So for Feb and March I was in a deficit, and this is kind of where things started to go wrong. It wasn't the deficit itself, that was definitely part of it, but through being so focused on my weight training, hitting my step count, and trying to hit my nutrition on point as much as possible, I forgot about a lot of other healthy habits. I forgot about my sleep. My sleep quality and quantity was poor, so terrible. I wasn't prioritizing it at all. I wasn't prioritizing my recovery. I stopped doing my yoga. It just became one of those things that just, because my weight sessions were quite long, and then I had some cardio sessions too, just doing another thing for my body just completely went out the window. It wasn't a priority. My priority was making sure I hit my nutrition and then hit my training. So I forgot about my sleep, my yoga. I stopped journaling. So I became very worn out and very tired very quickly, and then I also wasn't dealing with some personal things related to career and my work, and I kind of just let everything get on top of me. I stopped focusing on the little things, also getting outside and going for walks, just completely, like, as I said, they weren't a priority. And this is where things started to happen. Basically, I became very burnt out. I lost motivation. As I said, there were some issues with my job and my career, and it was getting to me very mentally, but I wasn't also dealing with it. I wasn't taking rest. I wasn't processing my feelings or talking about them or anything like that. And then this is where a lot of the triggers for my binge eating started to come back. And because I was so focused on other things, I didn't notice what was happening until it was kind of a little bit too late. So there was this week where I woke up literally one day and I felt so exhausted. Like, I'd had kind of a late night the night before, but I'd still had like 6 or 7 hours sleep, and I'd felt totally fine the day before, energetic like I usually do. Woke up and I just felt like absolute shit. And then I felt like that for like 2 weeks. I felt so exhausted, and then I didn't feel like doing anything else. Like, I felt no motivation to work out. My workouts were pretty poor poor quality, and I definitely missed quite a few sessions. I was feeling really emotionally quite sad and very drained. My nutrition also started then to take a hit because I was so tired, but I hadn't really focused on what I actually needed, which was rest and sleep. This is when I started to actually binge on foods, and being tired and staying up late was always a trigger for my binge eating. When I went to bed early and I got enough sleep and I rested enough, then my binging was decreased quite a lot. But this was a combination of, not working out, feeling quite shitty about myself. My body was very bloated. I was very stressed and anxious, and I wasn't sleeping. I was staying up so late watching Netflix, and I started to binge. And this went on for a couple of days where I just couldn't stop, and it was very, very scary. It brought me back to a very dark place a few years ago. I told my coach, and immediately we jumped on a Zoom and we had a chat about it. So basically we discussed what's happening now. Where has it come from? I didn't understand where it was coming from initially. I now know it was because of my job and my career. I'm not going to go into that, but that was basically the cause of it. And then everything else that I had not been focusing on definitely contributed. So those little things that I was saying. So we decided that a deficit is not where I should be right now. I totally agree. I thought being in a deficit, especially when you've binged, or when something like that is happening, is not a good idea at all. And I decided to pull out of the photo shoot. I decided next few months is a time for me to actually focus on my relationship with food, because I had let it slip so much but not realized it. So I am out of a deficit. I'm also doing 2 days of not tracking at all, which for someone who's been religiously tracking for a good 5 years is very scary, but it's also quite empowering as well. So the past few weeks, this was a few weeks ago that we chatted about this, there have been other times where I've overeaten, always on sweets and always because I'm staying up late. So I am making changes to that. And then I am also focusing on other things as well, such as screen time limits. My screen time limits, I don't go on my phone, or I can't go on social media from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m, which does really fantastic things for my sleep, as well as limits the time I'm on social media and looking at social expectations, because at this point my body has changed a little bit. I am at a weight where I am uncomfortable at, just due to having more food now and still feeling a little bit stressed, which makes my body a bit bloated. So I am at a weight, I am probably a few kilos off my heaviest weight that I've ever been at, which is definitely scary, but I also know that this is where I need to be. So limiting my time on social media for sleep quality reasons and to not look at, social expectations is really good, and I'm glad that I did that. As I said, I'm bringing calories up. There's no dieting phase happening right now, and I'm enjoying it. So yeah, it feels weird not feeling as slim as I usually do, but I know that this is absolutely necessary for this point. And when I am ready to go back into a deficit and get to a weight that I'm comfortable with, I know that I will be ready for it mentally and physically. I'm doing, as I said, 5 days I'm tracking maintenance calories and 2 days I'm not tracking. The 2 days not tracking is still a little bit of a challenge, but I am really enjoying it. So it's, there've been a few times so I've probably eaten a little bit more and a little bit not healthy options, but it's a work in progress. As I said, it's something I'm definitely getting used to, but I am excited to learn how to approach those days myself, and then eventually we're probably going to increase the no tracking days as well. Another one is going on MyFitnessPal less. So start of the week I will go on it to put in my meals for the 5 days, and you know, work out all the amounts, make sure I'm hitting my protein and my fats and the calorie limits and everything, sort out my meal plan for 5 days, and then I will basically write down the foods that I'm having, and then I don't need to go on MyFitnessPal for the rest of the week, which is actually strangely empowering, because I spent quite a lot of time on there, not obsessively, but I enjoyed hitting certain numbers, so it's actually good to get out of my head a little bit more. As I also work with my own clients, there's a lot of talk and a lot of focus on nutrition and MyFitnessPal and calories, so my whole world is kind of about this. And when a bit of a struggle pops up for myself, I need to remove myself as much as possible from those particular that particular app, at least for myself, and save all the energy for those types of things for all my clients. So it is actually quite freeing that I spend less time on my phone, because yeah, tracking does take up quite a bit of time, but yeah. Next one is sleep. So as I said, the screen time limits, and I am reading a little bit more as well at nighttime to help me sleep. I haven't set early morning alarms to prioritize workouts either. It's just sleep. So I also set an alarm for my bedtime at like 8:30. I don't go to bed at 8:30, but it's like an alarm to, okay, let's start to get a bit tired and start to focus on trying to get a little bit more sleep. And then yeah, I always have like an 8 a.m. alarm depending on my schedule. So I'm always getting decent amount of sleep. Still working on it for the weekend, as I tend to stay up a little bit too late still, but work in progress. Next one, I'm doing quality over quantity exercise. So we've dropped back a lot of the cardio sessions. I do love cardio genuinely, but we're focusing on more just let's get strong in the gym, let's focus on increasing our weights, and let's just have a few cardio sessions here and there, plus getting outside for walks. Also, self-care is a massive one at the moment. I'm making sure I'm doing yoga every day, and stretching and recovering, and I'm making sure I'm journaling, just sort of updating myself on my feelings, and making sure I'm reading my book every single day. It's very much an escape and something that makes me feel good as well. So lots of self-care and sort of spending time with myself, and yeah, figuring out how I can feel better today, next week, all that stuff. And also listening to podcasts about sort of binge eating and relationship with food, and educating myself on that, as well as I probably forgot about myself a little bit too much in the focus on other people and, you know, my business. I've also made people in my family aware of what's going on, and my boyfriend, which is a massive step for me. In the past, I kept all of this a secret myself. My mum knew absolutely nothing of what was really going on when I was a teenager, until she watched a YouTube video that I made like 2 years ago on it, and she was shocked. She felt bad, and it was like, I didn't want you to know, therefore you weren't gonna know. So when this sort of binge period had come up again, it scared me to death, and yeah, told my family about it, my sister, and my boyfriend knows as well. So I even just sort of asked him, like, can you just sometimes just ask me, like, how's my nutrition going? Like, how, specifically asked me, like, how is that sort of relationship going? Because I still sometimes feel a little bit of shame bringing it up myself, as it's something I'm still working through. I've also set new goals. So as I said, more strength-based, more relationship with food-based rather than numbers, going for walks, very habit-based, less, I guess, end goal, body image, body-based, if that makes sense. So different goals, something more fun and achievable, and definitely what I need for my mindset at this moment. What I'm focusing on is finding new ways to feel with down periods. So through those weeks where I was feeling quite down within myself, I wasn't handling it well at all. So now if I'm feeling a little bit down, I will find someone to hang out with, I will have an early night, I will read my book, I'll chuck on some Netflix, I'll do something that makes me feel better, I'll journal about it. I won't just sort of sit there and stew about it and stew about why I feel crappy, and then continue to eat my feelings, or just eat because I don't know what else to do. And the last one is getting help with it. As I said, I've told some people about it. I told my coach. I'm not dealing with this myself this time, which is kind of a relief. It's still very scary, but it's much better in terms of the long run, not having to deal with all this yourself. So basically, why I'm doing this video is I am shedding light on the fact that yes, I'm a nutritionist. Yes, I haven't binged for quite some time, and I have had the best relationship with food possible in the last few years, but I put myself on the back burner. I forgot about what I really needed. I forgot about the little habits. I got too up in my head about my shoot and making my coach proud, and not finding enough passion within my career or what I was actually doing. And so it's just a note that you can't forget about yourself. And when I forgot about myself, it put me in a dark space, put me back into my binge eating, emotional eating, disordered habit days. And in a sense, I'm glad it happened, because now I'm a lot more aware of what's going on, and I'm determined not to make it go back to what it was. So if this is you and you're dealing with binge eating, the biggest advice is to reach out and ask someone for help. It's really hard. I totally get it. It's the last thing anyone wants to do, but as soon as someone becomes aware of it, you realize that it's real and that it is a problem, and you need to do something about it. And if you are someone that has been free from binge eating for a while, but it has come back, just to note that it's okay, and you'll be able to get over it again, and even better. So this was just sort of it shed some light that I had improved my relationship with food, but maybe I hadn't improved it as much as I thought. Maybe I'd thought I had, and then definitely just glazed over the rest of it. And there's actually a lot more work that I personally need to do, and just not forget about it. So yeah, I hope this was educational and helpful in what I am actually focusing on now, and what needs to be focused on if this is something that you're also dealing with. So reach out to me as well if you want to have a chat and you don't feel ready to speak to someone close to you. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, follow, subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram as well. And yeah, thank you for watching.